we've got other tools, other techniques as well. Some of them are owned to or kind of specific and they're proprietary to Scrum, and some of them are actually kind of embraced and they're adopted from some other methodologies. Again, if you talk about the spirit of Scrum and what is Scrum really trying to do, is a continuous development, is a continuous integration. Whatever has been done, you integrate that all the pieces together. Just because we have got the item list and item details page done at the end of the release 1, is it fine we just leave it and then start afresh with the shopping cart functionality by release 2? No, we need to integrate that, right? It needs to work as one unit, and on the top of it we need to deliver the next functionality. So it's actually growing this, it's actually growing continuously, and you're delivering continuously. We've had a look at that example, right? We're talking about the phased wise delivery and development, integration, delivery. It's all continuous. It's not just one big bang, okay, see you later then. No, it's not like that. You actually have got that continuous integration, continuous interaction with the customers and users. And for that, what does Scrum really rely on? It's called the PDCA cycle, right? Plan, do, check, act. The transparency, inspection, and adaptation cycle. It's the technique that they relied on. That's how it actually is iterative and incremental. And then we had to look at the product backlog, the release backlog, and the sprint backlog, right? So release backlog is not something different. It's a term that I like to use because you actually have a better idea in terms of the releases. So, but Scrum just says product backlog and sprint backlog. There's no release backlog in Scrum, but I would like to just have, this is my way of using it. So the product owners could actually come up with a release. So then the team has got a better idea as to what they're working, which direction they're going to. So they say that, okay, by by the end of this December, by the 15th of December, I want to launch this one, the catalog functionality, for example, the item catalog with all the items shown and then the details and everything. So they know how what they expected to work on the next sprint, or at least they can have some ideas. And that's why I would have something called a release backlog, which is a subset of the product backlog. And then from the release backlog, you actually get the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog, again, is basically owned and updated and managed by the team. And this is the huge laundry list of the product backlog. It grows and grows and grows. As I said, there were at one point of time 1,200 just in about 3 months, and then it grew to the backlog that I managed actually grew to about 6,700 or something items in a span of 18 months, 1.5 years. So that was a 6,750 items or so in a span of 1.5 years. But then it's not as if we are delivering all of that at one go, right? We prioritize, we complete them, and then we rework and we add more items. And that's why it's called items or features, right? Features, tasks, defects, items. So these are all, this could be a user story, it could be a feature, epic, defect, it could be a task, technical task, it could be a change or improvement of the previous feature. All of that comes into backlog. And that's why there's a called PBI, product backlog items. They move into the release backlog, which is again managed by the product owner, and then goes into the sprint backlog. So, and then again, the reason why I mentioned this one is because at this stage, you're just talking about a feature. You're talking very high level. I want an administrative feature. I want to have a shopping cart feature. I want to have a catalog feature. So you're saying only at that level, very, very high level, no detailing at all. But then when you get to the next level, you're actually breaking that cart, for example, shopping cart or catalog into further detailing. So what does a catalog really mean? It means I should be able to show the items as a list. And when I click on an item, I should actually get to see the item details page, which means I should be able to see the details of which item I'm going to purchase or what the item is all about, images of item, the videos of the item, all that stuff, right? So that is what is a catalog, right? So at the first stage, you don't have to have that level of detail initially, but then you go into these sprints and into the release, and then by the time you actually get to the sprint backlog, you can't just say, I want to have a catalog. Go on, guys, go on and develop. I need a catalog. If you say that, they would actually ask, what is a catalog? What do you really want? Give us some ideas. What you really want? What do you mean by catalog? How should it look like? How should it work? What should it have? So instead of asking that question by themselves, why do you want to actually come up with the detailing to break up this whole thing, the catalog, into those pages. So we'll break that big, huge feature called catalog and into the epics and then the stories. And that's what goes into the stories, right? Item catalog, item list, item list page, item details page, item photo, show the item photo, show the item 360-degree view, right? So all of these are basically the stories. So you actually are getting into the details of that implementation. And that's what gets done with the with this kind of breakdown, with the subsequent breakdown of epic, user story, and the task. So the user story could be, I want to have a look at the item details page so that I can actually make a decision whether I like this item to be added to the cart. And then the task could be, if you want to show that, we need to get access to the database. We need to get the photos of the items to be shown. We need to have videos of the item to be shown on the page, right? So we need to get that from the database, connect to the database, get those items, and then show. That could be a way you define the whole approach. And then you also do the Moscow prioritization. I don't want to get in details of this. We discussed this already in the last few weeks. So again, very important to prioritize, a great tool for the product owner as well as for the team to prioritize and then shuffle and reshuffle the backlogs. We've discussed this at length with examples, so I'll move on. And we use planning poker for estimation. We use a very, very important tool. Again, all of these are not Scrum's tools, user stories, planning pokers, and then t-shirt sizing. These are not Scrum's techniques or tools. They're adopted into Scrum. So for example, we use this, is the story Excel, or is it a medium size, or is it a large size, depending on the what we mean by medium or large. So there should be some kind of a benchmark. And that's what we actually do with the estimation. And that's what gets done. Typically, this estimation gets done usually before the sprint planning session, or even during the sprint planning session. By the end of the sprint planning, there should be a good clarity in terms of what each user story that is part of that 7 stories that we said we will do by the sprint, right? So with that 7 stories, each story size, we should have at least an estimate that is it a medium, large, or something. And then if it is a medium, it is, let's say, 8 points. If it is a large, it's 13 points, something like that, some kind of benchmark. So if you have got 3 mediums, 2 large, and 2 small, so that will give you the size of those 7 stories that we said will be part of the sprint. That would actually make it to 70 points, right? Which is what we had agreed as the capacity, as the velocity for the sprint. So that's what is the is basically the planning poker and t-shirt sizing. And a very, very important way that Scrum really works is basically what we call a team board. So this is called a team board. It has got some kind of columns here. To do, doing, done. It could be analysis, design, development. It could be 10 other columns here. It could be starting with requirements, analysis, architecture, design, development, testing, testing complete, and then it goes on and on. And deployed, for example. So those, as many columns, there's no such limitation on this one. So it depends on what you put in those columns as well. But it gives an indication. This is called a visual information radiator. It radiates information visually. So you don't have to ask, what are you doing on which work? How much has been completed? What is still to be left? You don't have to ask anybody if you have got this up. So the team maintains this team board or the Kanban board. Again, it's called Kanban board because it's taken from Kanban. And this whole concept of this is called flow of work, which is basically a fundamental spirit of Kanban. We'll talk about that in the next few weeks, just specifically on Kanban and how it works in Kanban. But basically, Scrum adopted that approach of the fundamental way that you manage the flow of work across these different streams. Again, very, very, very critical. And that's why Scrum is very popular. You're not checking, you're not asking them into getting them into meetings, asking over phones or sending emails. What is the work done? How much work is pending? What are you working on now? You don't have to worry about it because, for example, this is Dave, that could be Jay, and this could be Sarah. And these people are actually working on, and each of these have got their own color. So for example, pink, I'm not trying to be feminist or sexist or whatever, but just for the sake of convenience, we'll put Sarah's as pink or red, Jay's as green, and Dave's as orange. So we can get to see from here that this is done, this is to do, this is doing, and this is work in progress, and this is done. So within a quick loop, you can actually get to see how much of work has Sarah completed, what is she still got to do, and what is the work in progress of Sarah just by looking at this. She doesn't have anything to do. She has already got 2 of the tasks work in progress. She has finished 2 of them already, right, and deployed them perhaps. And then Dave's, we've got still he did not start 4 of the tasks. He has completed 2 of them and has got about 2 done, right? So you get to have an idea. Similarly, Jay's. So just by looking at it, you get an idea about how the work is progressing, right? That's the beauty of this Kanban. It's called visual information radiators. They radiate the information visually very effectively. Very, very powerful tool. I would suggest you use that. We use Trello. I use TFS, Jira. All of these actually give you that flexibility. And then we discussed this again at length. It's called BDD acceptance test cases, or Gherkin statements: given, when, and then, right? This is how the test cases are written. It's called, we have got a lot of tools that use this, which again, we've got some tools like the butterfly tool and also the, what is the other one that is very popular testing tool, Selenium. They all accept this kind of test cases. This is a test case written in plain English, natural English. So you don't have to know a lot of different syntaxes and all that. Given this, when this event occurs, then the expected behavior is this, right? This is how it should behave. So given, when, and then. And then you actually write these test cases. We discussed this yesterday about the TDD, test-driven development, where you first write the test cases and then start the requirements and the piece of execution, the implementation. So first time around, write the test cases, run them through, they fail, and then they actually do some work, and then make sure that the test case are passed after a few iterations, right? So this is at the end of the sprint. You started the sprint with 100 test cases. All of them fail. After about day 3, you again do the testing execution, then about 20 pass, and still you've got 70 or 80 of them fail, and then you continue that. After about a few days, after the 7th day, you can actually get about 80 of the test cases pass, and you still have 20. And after the 10th day, which is the end of the sprint, you have got all of them pass. So that's the spirit of again BDD and the test-driven development, widely used in Scrum.